Greetings everyone, my name is SRG21 and I'm Schizophrenic Rabbit, bringing you another Call of Duty gameplay, and today's topic we're going to be talking about gun control. Now, gun control is a highly hot topic, let's say, highly debatable, and just want to get your opinions on it. Personally, on my side of the boat, I believe guns are tools and everyone should have at least some right to own them. Apart from if you are a criminal or convicted felon, criminal, whatever, you've done something to society to basically prove you are not capable of actually owning a gun. You know, a lot of people say gun control is a bad thing and other people say it's a good thing. Well, let's see. In the UK, let's go for what I know. Forget the United States for a bit, which we'll talk about later. Gun control in the UK started pretty much, or modern gun control anyway, started pretty much after the Second World War, First World War, that sort of era. Between 1918 to 1940, around the era of time, I should say, we started to see the first movements of gun control. Basically, the UK was running out of money. We just come out of a war. People wanted to work. There weren't as many jobs. People were getting laid off of jobs because they weren't needed anymore for the war effort. And tensions were rising. Basically, the government felt threatened that there might have been an armed insurrection. So gun control was put in place to stop this. Basically, that never amounted to anything. And we carry on into the future. Now, a while ago, pistols were outlawed in UK. So I believe after a massacre or a number of isolated individual instances where basically the government thought, well, we need to outlaw pistols and this will make things better because pistols are an offensive weapon. It's kind of funny actually, because pistols in warfare are considered actually a defensive weapon, a last resort that you use to defend yourself, and yet everyone's saying they're offensive weapons, which they can be, that you go and kill people with, rather than defend your life with or target practice. I believe in UK at the moment even our Olympic pistol shooters, the non-air rifle ones, have to go out of the country to actually participate in the sport and practice, etc, etc. They can't do it in the UK. If you go further on down the line, after I believe it was the Dunblane massacre, semi-automatics, before this fully automatics, you never got those in the UK as to my knowledge, but after the Dunblane massacre, semi-automatic rifles, you name it, what else, were banned. Apart from shotguns, I do believe you can still own a semi-automatic shotgun, but we'll get to that. They were banned because of one instance where a crazy person went and killed people. Then we move on further down the line, more gun control. Basically, shotguns were limited to 2+1 configuration, which means you can have 2 in a tubular magazine and 1 in the chamber for a pump action or semi-automatic shotgun, and which pretty much made double barrels the favoured shotgun to use in hunting and sporting events, basically because it fell in the lines with those and you didn't have to faff around with an extra shot. I don't really know the whole culture why double barrels were so popular. I guess generally because you couldn't have the 5-round tubular magazine and 1 in the chamber, or 4-round tubular magazine and 1 in the chamber, which a lot of other countries allow with their shotguns. Now, as we move further down the line, we came to, well, basically after each input of gun control, after every point in the UK it said, oh, we need to ban these guns and these firearms and these things because it's dangerous and they're killing people only because of crazy people in select few instances, crime actually went up and gun crime actually went up. I believe we have one of the highest gun crime rates in Europe. It's going up and up and up. You hear stories I believe a couple of years ago a 13 or 12-year-old boy was shot with a fully automatic Mac 11, which was converted from a gas gun, which would be used in movies. I believe the principle behind getting these gas guns, the criminals said basically, oh, we're making a James Bond movie. They approached the seller of these basically gas guns, which don't fire live rounds at all and can't, but they can be technically converted to do that. It just takes some work. And they said, well, we're gonna make a James Bond film. Could we have these gas guns? We're gonna buy them. Yes, you can. And they converted them, and there was about 120, I don't believe, all were accounted for. So they still could be in the streets today. And yeah, basically they killed this boy with an illegal gun. And guess who was blamed? Gun control. Well, I guess you couldn't say guess who was blamed. More of people said, oh, we need more gun control, and people were like, actually these were illegal guns. And other people started looking into it and saying, well, if these illegal guns are on the streets and gun crime is actually escalating, why do we have these gun control laws? They don't actually work. And a lot of police officers are saying that gun control doesn't actually work. They're finding more guns. I believe there's an interview on YouTube of a officer remaining anonymous, and he's basically saying, well, when he joined the force, he was given a whistle, a handcuffs, handcuffs and a truncheon, and that was his thing. He didn't need protective body armor, pepper spray, all this sort of stuff. And now later on in the police force, he's given all this stuff, and he's asked, well, why are you given all this stuff? And he basically answers, well, because the criminals have the guns, they have all this sort of stuff. If these laws are supposed to stop this, why do they have all this stuff? Why do we need the body armor? Why do we need all this protective gear if the bad guys have the guns? If the bad guys aren't supposed to have the guns, I should say, because the laws are supposed to stop them. And in the US at the moment, there's obviously the hot topic of gun control, and due to the Batman massacres, I'm doing inverted quotes here with my fingers. Basically, crazy guy goes into a theatre, which I believe is a no-gun zone under US law. It's a public place, no guns. Concealed carry permit holders aren't allowed to carry their guns into such places like banks, public buildings, etc, etc, etc. And basically walked in with a semi-automatic AR-15, 100-round drum, and shot up the place. And everyone's called saying, oh, a lot of politicians are saying we need more gun control, and it actually kind of backfires in a way, because I believe concealed carry permits have skyrocketed in the US at the moment, if I remember reading the news report correctly. That more and more people are actually getting these concealed carry permits and learning how to use guns and buying more guns because they're afraid of something like this happening. And a lot of politicians and anti-gun people are saying, well, that's just going to create more issues. It's going to be more guns, and more guns equals more bad things, and we should limit the guns. Well, if we compare that to the Cumbria massacres in 2010, basically a taxi driver, I do believe he was Derek Bird, his name was, and basically he went around killing people with a double barrel shotgun and a 22 long rifle calibered CZ bolt action rifle with a scope and a suppressor or silencer. And he went around killing people, and he killed 12 people and wounded 11 others with birdshot and 22, which, if you know anything about firearms, birdshot and 22 are considered some of the weakest loads for those particular guns. 22 caliber is seen as more of a sporting caliber, a hunting caliber, and it's difficult, let's say, to kill someone with a 22 caliber over a 9mm, a 45, or a 5.56, basically anything else. It's kind of the lower end of the bullets, apart from a 22 short and some others that are below it. and birdshot is basically one of the weakest loads you can have for a shotgun. Basically, it's designed to spread out a ton of very small ball bearings into the air, or basically at your target, firing about hundreds of these small pellets in some cases to kill your target. Obviously, it's called birdshot. It's designed to kill fast-moving birds, and basically, this kind of, in my opinion, this kind of proves gun control doesn't work, because we have so much gun control in the UK that you can clearly see that it doesn't work. We still have these massacres, we still have increased gun crime, and yet we are incredibly limited into the firearms we can actually use and can actually own. I believe to get a fully automatic firearm in the US and go through the background checks is about the same you do in the UK to own a simple shotgun. Obviously that's limited to what you can have, and that's limited to the type of ammunition you can have for it. I don't believe you're allowed to own slugs, or slugs of certain types, I believe, or this sort of more harder hitting shotgun loads you can have. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. What do you think? Do you think we should have more gun control, or do you think gun control is a bad idea, I should say? I'll see you guys later.